The conference room was cold. Ambassador Day sat across from the three Vrelian representatives. Their insect-like bodies clicked and shifted in their chairs. Behind him stood Captain Ji Woo, her hand resting near her weapon. She did not trust these creatures. Day had been a diplomat for 20 years. He knew how to read a room. Today, something felt wrong. The Vrelians had requested this private meeting. They said it was about trade routes. But their body language spoke of something else. The largest Vrelian leaned forward. Its mandibles clicked together, making sounds that the translator turned into words. Ambassador Day, we have new terms for your species. Day folded his hands on the table. I am listening. Humanity will surrender 3 of your colony worlds. You will also pay tribute each year. Food, metals, and technology. The words hung in the air like poison. Ji Woo's hand tightened on her weapon. Day remained calm on the outside, but his mind raced. This was not negotiation. This was extortion. That is unacceptable, Day said quietly. Humanity does not surrender our people or our worlds. The Vrelian made a sound like laughter. 12 species have learned to accept our terms. Some learned the easy way. Others learned through pain. They stood up slowly. Then, we will take the 3rd option. We decline your terms completely. This meeting is over. He turned toward the door. Ji Woo moved to follow him. But the door did not open. The Vrelian spoke again. There is no 3rd option, human. Everything happened fast. The Vrelians moved with terrible speed. Ji Woo drew her weapon, but something hit her from behind. She fell. They tried to run, but strong arms grabbed him. He fought, but the Vrelians were too strong. They forced him to his knees. One of them activated a camera. Red lights blinked on. They understood then. They were recording this. Let this be a lesson, the Vrelian said to the camera. This is what happens to species who refuse the hierarchy. Day closed his eyes. He thought of Earth. He thought of his daughter. He hoped someone would remember him. The blade came down. Ji Woo woke up hours later. Her head throbbed with pain. She was in a different room now. Small, dark, locked. She touched the back of her skull and felt dry blood. The door opened. A Vrelian guard threw a data chip at her feet. A gift, it said. So you can show your people what happens to fools. Then it was gone. Ji Woo picked up the chip with shaking hands. She knew what was on it. She had seen enough before they knocked her unconscious. The station's alarms began blaring. Emergency evacuation. The Vrelians were leaving. They had done what they came to do. Ji Woo forced herself to move. She had to get off this station. She had to get this recording back to Earth. The corridors were chaos. Species from across the galaxy ran in every direction. Some were crying. Others looked angry. But none of them helped her. They all knew what the Vrelians had done. They were all too afraid to act. Ji Woo reached the docking bay. Her shuttle was still there. She climbed inside and launched immediately. As her ship pulled away from the station, she looked back. The Vrelian fleet hung in space like a dark cloud. Their ships were massive, covered in weapons and armor. They had broadcast Ambassador Day's execution across every communication channel in the galaxy. The message was clear. Submit or die. Ji Woo set course for Earth. The journey would take 3 weeks. 3 weeks of flying through empty space with nothing but her thoughts and that terrible recording. She played it once. Only once. She needed to see it, to understand exactly what had happened. When it finished, she sat in silence for an hour. Then she began writing her report. News of the execution spread across the galaxy within days. The Galactic Council met in emergency session. Representatives from 100 worlds gathered to discuss the situation. They talked for 6 hours. At the end, they issued a statement. The Council regrets this unfortunate incident. We encourage all parties to seek peaceful resolution. That was all. No condemnation. No action. No justice. The smaller species understood why. The Council was afraid. The Vrelians had the largest military in known space. They had conquered 12 species already. No one wanted to be the 13th. On the station where Day had died, workers cleaned the conference room. They scrubbed away the blood. They replaced the furniture. Within a week, no sign remained of what had happened there. But the galaxy remembered. Some species felt sympathy for humanity. Others felt relief that the Vrelians had chosen a different target this time. A few felt nothing at all. In the grand game of galactic politics, one dead ambassador was a small price for peace. The Vrelians sent their own message to Earth. It was simple and direct. Your ambassador broke protocol. He insulted the hierarchy. Justice was served. You have 30 days to accept our original terms. If you refuse, we will take what we want by force. The message was signed by the Empress herself. Jiwoo's shuttle finally reached Earth's orbital space. Defense ships surrounded her immediately. They scanned her vessel, checked her identity, and cleared her for landing. She touched down at the capital spaceport. A military escort waited for her. They took the data chip. They took her report. Then they took her to see the people who would decide humanity's response. As Jiwoo walked through the halls of Earth's government center, she noticed something strange. The usual noise and activity were gone. The building was quiet, empty. Everyone was waiting. Waiting to see what humanity would do. Would they bow? Would they fight? Would they run? Jiwoo did not know. But she understood one thing clearly. The galaxy had just made a terrible mistake. They had killed a human ambassador and expected no consequences. They were about to learn how wrong they were. President Mina sat in the war room deep beneath Earth's capital. Around the table sat 12 people. These were the leaders of humanity's military, intelligence, and government. Their faces were grim. Captain Jiwoo stood at attention. She had just finished presenting her report and showing the recording. No one had spoken for 3 minutes. Admiral Taewon broke the silence. How many ships do the Vrelians have? Dr. Sora, the intelligence director, pulled up holographic displays. Their main fleet has 2,000 warships. Another 500 guard their conquered territories. They can mobilize quickly. And us? President Mina asked. Officially? 400 ships. That is what the galaxy knows about. And unofficially? Admiral Taewon smiled. It was not a kind smile. 1,200 ships, all hidden in deep space installations. Project Prometheus has been running for 30 years. The room stirred. Even some of the people at this table had not known the full extent of humanity's secret military buildup. Dr. Sora continued. We have been preparing for this scenario since first contact with hostile species. The Vrelians are not the first to threaten us. They are simply the first to act on it. President Mina stood and walked to the window. Outside, Earth turned peacefully below. Billions of people going about their lives. Most did not yet know about Ambassador Day's murder. What are our options? She asked. General Baora spoke up. She commanded Earth's ground forces. We can negotiate. Give them something small. Buy time. They will see that as weakness, Admiral Taewon said. They will demand more next year, and more the year after that. We will bleed slowly. We could appeal to the Galactic Council, suggested Minister Han, the diplomatic advisor. The Council already issued their statement, Jiwoo said bitterly. They called it an unfortunate incident. They will not help us. President Mina turned back to the table. What about the third option? Everyone knew what she meant. War. Dr. Sora pulled up more data. The Vrelians have never faced organized resistance. The 12 species they conquered were divided. Some had no military at all. Others fought alone and were crushed. What about their tactics? Asked General Baora. Terror. They strike hard at civilian targets. They broadcast the carnage. Most species surrender before the real fighting begins. Admiral Taewon leaned forward. They are bullies. They have never fought an equal. They have certainly never fought an enemy who refuses to quit. President Mina looked at each person in the room. If we go to war, it will cost lives. Human lives. Are we prepared for that? Ambassador Day was prepared to give his life for peace, Jiwoo said quietly. They killed him anyway. If we do nothing, his death means nothing. We might as well surrender now. The room fell silent again. Finally, President Mina spoke. Admiral Taewon, begin mobilization. Activate all Prometheus assets. I want our full fleet ready within 2 weeks. General Baora, prepare your troops. If this turns into a ground war, we will need them. Dr. Sora, I want complete intelligence on every Vrelian installation, ship, and leader. Find me their weaknesses. She looked at Jiwoo. Captain, you are promoted to commander. You will join Admiral Taewon's staff. You deserve to see this through. Jiwoo saluted. Thank you, Madam President. One more thing, President Mina said. As of this moment, Earth goes dark. No diplomatic transmissions. No public statements. No explanation. Let the galaxy wonder what we are thinking. Minister Han looked worried. Silence could be interpreted as fear. Good, President Mina said coldly. Let them think we are afraid. Let them relax. Let them feel safe. Over the next 3 days, humanity went silent. Every embassy recalled its staff. Every diplomatic channel went quiet. Earth's public networks stopped broadcasting to the galaxy. The other species noticed immediately. Some thought humanity was surrendering. Others thought they were running. A few suspected the truth, but kept quiet. The Vrelians were pleased. They saw the silence as confirmation of their power. The Empress issued a statement declaring that humanity had until the deadline to accept terms. After that, Vrelian fleets would begin seizing human colonies, while the galaxy watched and waited. Humanity worked at the hidden naval base near Jupiter's moons. Ships began emerging from underground docks. These were vessels no other species had ever seen. Sleek destroyers, heavy cruisers, massive carriers filled with fighter craft. Engineers like Haein worked around the clock. She was Jiwoo's younger sister. While her sister went to fight, Haein stayed to prepare the ships. She modified civilian transport vessels, adding weapons and armor. Every ship that could carry a gun was being armed. How many more? Her supervisor asked. 23 transports left, Haein said, exhausted. They will be ready in 48 hours. Good. The Admiral wants them at the staging point by week's end. At training facilities on Earth and Mars, soldiers prepared for combat. They studied Vrelian physiology, learning where to shoot for maximum effect. They practiced boarding actions. They simulated ground assaults. In intelligence centers, analysts worked through mountains of data. They mapped every Vrelian colony. They identified supply routes. They found the locations of their leaders. Dr. Sora presented her findings to the War Council. The Vrelians have a weakness. Their conquered territories hate them. If we can ignite rebellions, their forces will be spread thin. Can we do that? President Mina asked. Yes, but it will take time. We need to make contact with resistance groups. Provide them with weapons and support. Make it happen. 2 weeks after Ambassador Day's murder, Admiral Taewon stood on the bridge of the battleship Seoul. Around him, humanity's hidden fleet assembled in the darkness between stars. 1,200 warships. Crews ready for battle. Weapons charged and waiting. The admiral opened a channel to every ship in the fleet. His words were broadcast to every captain, every soldier, every person who would fight in the coming war. People of Earth, 2 weeks ago, the Vrelians murdered Ambassador Day in cold blood. They did this to frighten us, to make us submit. They believe we are weak because we chose peace. They are wrong. Humanity has always preferred peace. We seek cooperation. We value life. But when someone murders our people and expects no response, they mistake our kindness for weakness. The Vrelians operate by a simple rule. Might makes right. The strong take what they want. The weak exist to serve. Today, we will teach them a new rule. There are consequences for murder. There is a price for cruelty, and that price will be paid in full. We do not make threats. We make promises. And I promise you this. Before this is over, the Vrelians will regret the day they learned our name. The fleet remained silent, but every crew member felt it. The determination, the anger, the readiness. Humanity had been silent. Now it was time to speak. And the galaxy was about to discover that when humans speak, the universe listens. The Mayan colony of New Sol floated peacefully in space. 5,000 humans lived there, extracting rare metals from the asteroid belt. They had 24 hours to evacuate. Commander Jinho watched from his stealth ship as the last transport lifted off. The colony was empty now, dark and silent. All civilians clear, reported Lieutenant Yuna from the tactical station. The trap is set. Good. Take us to position Delta. Silent running. The stealth ship drifted into the asteroid field. Around them, 49 more ships did the same. They were invisible to normal sensors. Human technology that the galaxy did not know existed. Jinho had been a test pilot before the war. He had helped develop these stealth ships in secret. Now he would use them in combat for the first time. Vrelian fleet detected, Yuna said. 200 ships. Estimated arrival in 30 minutes. Jinho activated the fleet channel. All ships, this is Commander Jinho. Hold position. Do not activate weapons until my command. They need to believe we are not here. 49 captains confirmed the order. The waiting was the hardest part. Jinho watched his displays as the Vrelian fleet grew closer. 200 warships, each one larger than his stealth destroyer. Each one carrying hundreds of warriors. The Vrelians were confident. They expected no resistance. Intelligence reports said they were already celebrating their easy victory. They are entering the kill zone, Yuna said. The Vrelian fleet surrounded the empty colony. Their scanners swept the area. Finding nothing, their commander sent a message to his superiors. The human colony was abandoned. The cowards had run. Permission to begin? Yuna asked. Not yet. Let them get comfortable. The Vrelians began boarding the colony. They wanted to loot anything valuable before claiming the territory. Soldiers poured from their ships into the abandoned stations. Now? Yuna's hand hovered over her controls. Jinho waited 5 more seconds. 10. 15. Now, 50 stealth ships activated at once. Their cloaking fields dropped. Weapons that had been charging in silence suddenly came online. Targeting computers locked onto the nearest Vrelian vessels. The Vrelians had 3 seconds of confusion. Their sensors showed 50 ships where there had been empty space. Then the firing began. Yuna's fingers danced across her console. Missiles launched. Energy weapons carved through space. The first Vrelian ship exploded before it could even raise shields. Target their command ships, Jinho ordered. Cut off their leadership. The human ships moved with precision. Every captain knew their role. Every shot was calculated. They had trained for this for years. The Vrelians tried to fight back. Their ships turned, weapons charging. But they were in disarray. They did not know where the attack came from. They could not organize a defense. A Vrelian battleship fired wildly into the asteroid field. It hit rocks instead of ships. Return fire from 3 human destroyers tore through its hull. Enemy attempting to flee, Una reported. 20 ships breaking formation. Let them go. Focus on the ones who stay. But the fleeing ships did not get far. More human vessels appeared from different hiding spots. The Vrelians were surrounded. Warlord Dexcor commanded the Vrelian fleet from his flagship. He watched in horror as his forces were torn apart. How was this possible? Humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to be afraid. Get us out of here. He screamed at his crew. We cannot break through, Lord Dexcor. They are everywhere. Fight. You are warriors of the hierarchy. But fighting was useless. The human ships vanished and reappeared. They struck from impossible angles. Every time the Vrelians tried to target them, they were gone. 6 hours into the battle, Dexcor realized he was going to die. His fleet was destroyed. Only 30 ships remained. Most were damaged. His communication officer spoke quietly. The humans are hailing us, Lord. Ignore them. My lord. Perhaps we should. I said ignore them. But it was too late. A voice came through on all channels. It spoke in perfect Vrelian language. Warlord Dexcor. This is Commander Jinho of the Earth Defense Navy. You have one chance to surrender. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. Dexcor laughed bitterly. And if I refuse? Then you will die like the 170 ships we have already destroyed. The number hit Dexcor like a physical blow. 170 ships gone. Out of 200. In 6 hours. What guarantee do I have of mercy? Dexcor asked. There was a pause. Then the human spoke again. The same guarantee your kind gave Ambassador Day. Dexcor understood. There would be no mercy, but perhaps there would be life. He could surrender. Become a prisoner. Live to see another day. The Empress would ransom him eventually. Very well, human. We surrender. Lower your shields. Dexcor gave the order. His crew obeyed reluctantly. The remaining Vrelian ships powered down their weapons and lowered their defensive fields. Human boarding craft approached. Marines in armor entered the Vrelian vessels. They moved with military precision, securing each ship and taking prisoners. Dexcor waited on his bridge. He rehearsed his surrender speech. He would bow, show respect, ask for the rules of his imprisonment. Commander Jinho entered the bridge with 10 Marines. His armor was marked with Earth's flag. His weapon was pointed at the floor, but ready. Warlord Dexcor, Jinho said. By the authority of Earth's government, I place you under arrest for the murder of Ambassador Day. I will cooperate, Dexcor said quickly. I request prisoner status under galactic law. Jinho looked at him for a long moment. Then he spoke to his Marines. Set up the camera. Dexcor's blood ran cold. What? No, you cannot. Your species does not believe in trials, Jinho said calmly. You do not believe in justice or mercy. You believe in power, in making examples. 2 Marines grabbed Dexcor. He struggled, but they were too strong. We are simply following your rules, Warlord. Your kind taught the galaxy this lesson. We are just better students. The camera activated. Red lights blinked on. Jinho broadcast to every Vrelian channel, to their homeworld, to their Empress, to every conquered territory they controlled. This is Commander Jinho of Earth. You killed our ambassador and expected no response. You were wrong. He drew his sidearm. This is what happens to murderers. The shot echoed through the bridge. Across Vrelian space, millions watched. The Empress watched. The military commanders watched. The conquered species watched. The message was clear. Humanity did not negotiate with murderers. Humanity did not forgive. Humanity had learned the rules of this new game, and they played to win. Commander Jinho looked at the camera one last time. We gave you peace. You chose war. We will give you war until you remember why peace was the better option. The broadcast ended. The human fleet began collecting the captured Relian ships. The prisoners were secured. The dead were counted. Lieutenant Yuna approached Commander Jinho. Sir, we are receiving messages from across the galaxy. Everyone saw what we did. Good, let them see. Let them know what happens when you murder humans and expect us to bow. Some species are calling us monsters. Jinho looked at her. Monsters do not warn their enemies first. Monsters do not offer chances for peace. We are not monsters, Lieutenant. We are humans. And we protect our own. The fleet prepared to move to the next target. This was only the beginning. The Vrelians controlled dozens of systems. They had hundreds more ships. But humanity had sent a message. Written in fire and blood. Broadcast across the stars. Do not touch our people. Or face the consequences. Empress Silvax was 600 years old. She had ruled the Vrelian hierarchy for 3 centuries. She had conquered 12 species. She had never known defeat. Until now. The reports came in one after another. Her fleet at New Sol destroyed. Warlord Dexcor executed on camera. Human ships appearing from nowhere. Fighting with tactics she had never seen. How many ships did we lose? She demanded. Her military advisor trembled. 180, Your Majesty. 20 were captured. And the humans? They lost. 3 ships. Maybe 4. Silvax crushed the armrest of her throne. The metal bent under her grip. This was impossible. Humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to surrender. Pull back all forces to core territory. Call our vassal species. I want every ship they have. Your Majesty, the vassals are hesitating. What? Some are refusing our calls. Others are responding slowly. There are reports of... The advisor paused, afraid to continue. Say it. Reports of celebration, Your Majesty. Among the conquered species. They are happy we are losing. For the first time in 300 years. Empress Silvax felt something unfamiliar. Fear. General Baora stood in the war room aboard the carrier, Bizan. Around her were holographic displays showing 12 different star systems. These were Vrelian territories. Conquered worlds that had been enslaved for decades. Are our contacts ready? She asked. Specialist Junseek looked up from his console. He was young, barely 25, but he was the best cyber warfare expert in the human military. Yes, General. I have established secure channels with resistance groups in all 12 systems. They are waiting for our signal. And the broadcasts? Ready to go. Once I trigger the virus, every Vrelian communication system will carry our message. They will not be able to stop it. Baora nodded. Do it. Junseek's fingers moved across his keyboard. Code flowed across screens. Within seconds, his virus penetrated Vrelian networks. It spread like fire through their military systems, their government channels, their public broadcasts. Every screen across Vrelian space went dark for 3 seconds. Then they all displayed the same image, General Baora's face. She spoke in 12 different languages, one for each conquered species. People of the Vrelian territories. My name is General Baora of Earth. You do not know us, but we know you. We know your suffering. We know your chains. The Vrelians came to our worlds. They murdered our ambassador. They demanded we submit or die. We chose a third option. Freedom. Now we offer you the same choice. Rise up. Fight your oppressors. We will help you. Earth will provide weapons, training, and support to any species that wants their freedom. The Vrelians are retreating. They are weak. They are afraid. This is your moment. Take it. The broadcast ended. Silence fell across the Empire. Then the explosions began. On the planet Kelmer, the conquered species had been slaves for 40 years. They mined precious minerals that powered Vrelian ships. They lived in camps. They died young. When General Bahra's message played, something broke inside them. Years of anger. Decades of pain. All released at once. They attacked their guards. They seized weapons. They burned the camps and fought their way to freedom. Within hours, Kelmer was in open rebellion. The same thing happened on 11 other worlds. Different species, different languages, but the same rage, the same desire for freedom. Human ships arrived to help. They brought weapons and supplies. Special forces teams trained the rebels in combat tactics. Engineers helped them repair old ships and build defenses. Specialist Juneseek coordinated everything from the Bizon. His virus allowed him to hack Vrelian communications. He could see their military orders. He could redirect their supply ships. He could spread confusion and false information. General, the Vrelians are trying to send reinforcements to Kelmer, he reported. Where are they coming from? Their base at Sector 7. Redirect them. Make them think the real attack is at Sector 12. Yes, General. Juneseek changed the orders in the Vrelian system. Enemy ships turned away from Kelmer and flew to the wrong sector. By the time they realized the mistake, it was too late. Empress Silvax watched as her empire burned. 12 worlds in rebellion. Human ships everywhere. Her own systems turned against her. How did they get into our networks? She screamed. We do not know, Your Majesty. Their cyber attacks are beyond anything we have seen. Find the human responsible and kill him. We are trying, Your Majesty. But he covers his tracks. Every time we locate him, he is already gone. Silvax realized the horrible truth. The humans were not just fighting a military war. They were dismantling her entire empire. They were turning her subjects against her. They were using technology she did not understand. What about our homeworld defenses? She asked. Still strong, Your Majesty. We have defensive satellites, shield generators, and 500 ships in orbit. No enemy can reach us here. Then we will wait. Let them tire themselves attacking outer territories. When they come for the homeworld, we will crush them. But the humans did not attack the homeworld. Not yet. Instead, Admiral Taiwan's fleet moved from system to system. They destroyed Vrelian military bases. They captured supply depots. They liberated slave colonies. Each victory was broadcast across the galaxy. Each freed species joined the growing coalition against the Vrelians. Species that had been neutral suddenly offered help to humanity. They provided intelligence. They opened their space to human ships. Some even sent their own small fleets to join the fight. The Galactic Council watched in shock. They had expected a quick Vrelian victory. Instead, they saw our empire collapsing. Should we intervene? Asked one council member. On which side? Asked another. No one had an answer. 6 weeks after the war began, Admiral Taiwan's fleet arrived at the Vrelian homeworld. 500 human ships faced 500 Vrelian defenders. The Empress watched from her palace. This was the moment. This was where humanity would break against her defenses. Admiral Taiwan opened a communication channel. Empress Silvax. I am Admiral Taiwan of the Earth Defense Navy. I am here to discuss your surrender. Silvax laughed. Surrender? You are outnumbered. My defenses are impregnable. You cannot win here, human. Your Majesty, you misunderstand. I am not asking you to surrender. I am telling you that you will. Bold words for someone about to die. Perhaps. But before the shooting starts, I want to show you something. A video played on every screen in the palace. It showed Ambassador Day's last moments. His final words before the Vrelians killed him. Tell them we tried peace first, Day said to the camera. Tell them we wanted a different path. But if they choose violence, humanity will not bow. We will fight. And we will win. The video ended. Admiral Taiwan spoke again. Those were Ambassador Day's final words. He knew you might kill him. He went anyway, because he believed in peace. You killed a man of peace. You killed him on camera. You made an example of him. Now we make an example of you. You have 24 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will take your homeworld by force. And unlike you, we will show mercy to your civilians. Because that is who we are. We are not monsters, Empress. We are humans. And we do not forget. The channel closed. Empress Sylvax sat on her throne, suddenly very aware of how quiet the palace had become. Around her, advisors waited for orders. Generals waited for commands. But for the first time in 600 years, Sylvax had no idea what to do. She had fought many wars. She had crushed many enemies. But she had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that fought not just with weapons, but with words. An enemy that freed her slaves and turned them into soldiers. An enemy that dismantled her empire from within. Outside her palace, the human fleet waited in perfect formation. The clock was ticking. 20-4 hours. 23 hours passed. Empress Sylvax sat alone in her throne room. Her advisors had begged her to surrender. Her military commanders said they could not win. Even her own daughter had asked her to end this, but surrendering meant the end of everything. The end of her empire. The end of her legacy. The end of 600 years of power. With 1 hour left, she made her decision. Open a channel to the human fleet, she said quietly. Her communication officer hesitated. Your Majesty, are you certain? Do it. The channel opened. Admiral Taiwan's face appeared on the screen. He looked tired but calm. Admiral, Sylvax said, I wish to negotiate terms. There are no terms, Empress. Only unconditional surrender. I am willing to step down, to hand power to someone else. But my people need guarantees. We need to know you will not exterminate us. Admiral Taiwan was silent for a moment. Then he spoke. Empress, we are not you. We do not destroy species for sport. We do not enslave populations. We fight because you forced us to fight. But make no mistake, there will be justice. Everyone involved in Ambassador Day's murder will face trial. Your military will be dismantled. Your conquered territories will be freed. And humanity will monitor your species for generations to come. Those are our terms. Accept them, or we will take your homeworld by force. Sylvax felt the weight of centuries pressing down on her. She had built an empire through fear and violence. Now that same empire was ashes. I accept, she whispered. The war was over. 3 months later, Commander Ji Woo stood in the rebuilt Galactic Council chamber. She wore the formal uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Her title was now Ambassador Ji Woo, a position she had accepted reluctantly. I am not a diplomat, she had told President Mina. You are exactly what we need, Mina had replied. Someone who remembers the cost of peace. Someone who will not let them forget. The council chamber was full. Representatives from over 100 species had gathered. The Vrelians were there too, standing in the back, their delegation small and quiet. Council Speaker Dayung called the meeting to order. She was human, elected by the council after the war. The first time a human had held the position. We gather today to establish new laws for our galaxy, Dayun said. Laws that will prevent future wars. Laws that protect the innocent. Ambassador Jiwoo stepped forward. She carried a document that had taken months to write. Lawyers, diplomats, and military experts from a dozen species had contributed. This is the Daehaeon Accord, Jiwoo said, named for the man whose death started this war. A man who believed in peace even when others chose violence. She began reading the key points. First, the murder of diplomatic personnel will result in immediate military intervention by a coalition force. No species can hide behind borders after killing ambassadors. Second, any species that conquers others through force will face collective response. The strong cannot simply take what they want anymore. Third, conquered species have the right to freedom. Any species held against their will can appeal to the galactic community for liberation. Fourth, war crimes will be prosecuted. Leaders who order atrocities will face justice. Following orders is not a defense. Some species shifted uncomfortably. These laws would change everything. The old rules where the strong dominated the weak were ending. I know some of you fear these changes, Jiwoo continued. You worry about human power. You wonder if we will become the next tyrants. I understand that fear. But I make you this promise. Humanity does not seek to rule the galaxy. We seek to protect it. We will enforce these laws equally, even against ourselves if necessary. A representative from the Vrelian delegation stood. It was a young official named Kelvar. The old guard had been removed after the war. Ambassador Jiwoo, Kelvar said hesitantly. My people want to know, will humanity ever forgive us? The chamber fell silent. Everyone waited for Jiwoo's answer. She thought about Ambassador Day. She thought about the 3 human ships lost in battle. She thought about all the species that had suffered under Vrelian rule. Forgiveness is earned, Jiwoo said finally. Your people have a long road ahead. You must make reparations. You must rebuild what you destroyed. You must prove that you have changed. But humanity believes in second chances. We believe people can change. So yes, eventually, there can be forgiveness. But never forgetfulness. Kelvar sat down, looking relieved and ashamed at the same time. The vote was called. The Daehaeon Accord was approved by overwhelming majority. Only a handful of species abstained. None voted against it. After the meeting, Jiwoo walked through the council station. It had been rebuilt after the Vrelian occupation. The conference room where Day died was now a memorial. His name was carved in stone in 12 languages. She stood there for a long time, remembering the man she had failed to protect. He would be proud of you. Jiwoo turned. Admiral Taewon stood behind her, also in dress uniform. I am not sure about that, Jiwoo said. He believed in peace. I helped start a war. You helped end a tyranny, Taewon corrected. They wanted peace, yes. But he also knew that some people only understand strength. You taught the galaxy that lesson. At what cost? Less than if we had done nothing. How many more species would the Vrelians have conquered? How many more ambassadors would they have killed? Jiwoo nodded slowly. She knew he was right. But the knowledge did not make it easier. Back on Earth, a statue was being unveiled. It stood in the capital, in a plaza renamed Peace Square. The statue showed Ambassador Day, his hand extended in greeting, his face calm and kind. The inscription at the base read, He sought peace. His death taught the galaxy that humanity's mercy has limits. President Mina spoke at the ceremony. Day believed that words could change the universe. He was right. His final words changed everything. They showed us who we are. People who prefer peace but excel at war. People who forgive but never forget. In orbit above Earth, The defense fleet maintained constant watch. The fleet was smaller now, but still powerful. Admiral Taewon commanded from the Seoul, always ready. The galaxy had changed. The old empires were gone or diminished. New alliances formed. Species that had been enemies were learning to cooperate, but some things remained the same. Humanity still trained diplomats, but now those diplomats also learned combat tactics. They studied negotiation and military strategy. They prepared for peace, but trained for war. Ji Woo watched the young diplomats during their exercises. They practiced talking. They practiced shooting. They learned when to extend a hand and when to make a fist. One young trainee approached her after class. His name was Dong Hyan, and he reminded her of her younger self. "Ambassador, may I ask a question?" "Of course. Do you think we will ever have real peace? Or will there always be another war?" Ji Woo considered the question carefully. There will always be those who choose violence. Always be those who mistake kindness for weakness. But there will also always be people like Ambassador Day. People who believe in something better. So which side wins? The side that is stronger. Not in weapons, but in conviction. We must be strong enough to defend peace. Brave enough to fight when necessary. And wise enough to know the difference. Dong Hyan nodded thoughtfully. "I understand." "Good. Because one day, you might be the one making that choice. And the galaxy will be watching." Years passed. The Vrelians paid their reparations. They rebuilt what they had destroyed. Slowly, painfully, they learned to be part of the galactic community instead of its master. Other aggressive species watched and learned. The lesson was clear. Humanity would tolerate many things, but threaten them, hurt their people, and you would discover why they were the species that climbed from a death world to the stars. Not because they were the strongest, not because they were the smartest, but because they never quit, because they remembered, because they protected their own. The Daehan Accord became the foundation of galactic law. New councils formed. New alliances grew. The galaxy moved towards something it had never truly had before. Peace. Real peace. Not the peace of submission, but the peace of mutual respect. And watching over it all, humanity stood guard. Ready to negotiate. Ready to help. Ready to defend. They preferred peace. They excelled at war. And the galaxy finally understood the difference. Ambassador Ji Woo returned to the memorial one last time before retiring. She placed a single white flower at the base of Day's statue. "We did it," she whispered. "Your death meant something." The galaxy learned. They learned that we will always choose peace first. But we will never choose surrender. They thought slaying an ambassador was safe. They were wrong. And now they will never make that mistake again. She saluted the statue, then walked away. Behind her, the inscription gleamed in the light. He sought peace. His death taught the galaxy that humanity's mercy has limits. And the universe remembered.